Let's ride. Let's ride.
What is going on, guys? SteelTwins coming at you with the first episode of the SteelTwins Podcast. And in this one, we are going to be previewing the Week 1 matchup, the anticipated matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals, as the Steelers will be on the road to Cincinnati for Week 1.
For Week 1, where they are looking to upset the reigning, defending, undisputed AFC Conference Champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. Did I really just say that?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. I just never thought in my wildest dreams, never thought in my entire life I would see the Bengals as defending conference champions.
Yeah.
Almost Super Bowl champions. To continue on, I never thought I'd see them win a playoff game in my lifetime. But here they are, man. Here they are. Probably the top team in the entire division.
Arguably. It is arguable.
It's crazy to think because, you know, we all know the history of the Bengals and how they choked in the Marvin Lewis days. But here Joe Burrow is last year in his second year and Zach Taylor's third year altogether. And they went all the way to the championship game, to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, something that I'm sure not even Bengals fans could have imagined.
No, and I hate to say this as a rival, as a division rival, as a Steelers fan. It's weird and it's I'm not trying to give him too much, credit,
right?
Because I really don't want to. But as an NFL football fan in general, they are a really good team, and I think they improved a lot this past offseason. They really did.
Yeah, they really did. They were very active in free agency. They, in my opinion, had a very good draft. They added a lot. They really did. They had a lot last year, but the fact that they added some more pieces, especially to the offensive line, for their sake, considering that Joe Burrow last year, when you count him being sacked from the regular season and the postseason, he was sacked 70 times.
Wow.
Last year.
70 times, and they made drastic changes to that offensive line, adding guys such as Ted Karras at center, Alex Kappa, two guys that Rob and I here both wanted the Steelers to make serious efforts to grab and for agency to boost this line. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and the Bengals snagged both of them, but they will later grab Leo Collins to fill in one of the tackle spots.
Yep.
That's a drastically new and better offensive line right there. Not just for Burrow, but for Joe Mixon.
Yes.
Who is one of the best backs in the league, one of the most underrated backs in the league. And, of course, we know their receiving targets. And the scary thing about this entire offense, the Bengals' entire offense, they're so incredibly young. But you could say that about their entire team.
You really could say that about their entire team.
From the head coach to the quarterback to the receivers to the line to the defense. They're just getting started as much as it's irritating to say, honestly. Because, you know, it seems now that since the Bengals have beaten us 3 straight times, and in really good fashion for them, disgusting fashion for the Steelers,
yep,
a rivalry is renewed. As a matter of fact, if I have my history correct, the last time the Bengals beat us 3 or more times was back in 1988 all the way through 1990, where they swept us 3 straight years. That's the last time they beat us 3 or more times.
Over 30 years ago.
And here they are again beating us now 3 straight times and looking to make it 4 at home to start the season.
Yep.
But could the Steelers make an upset? Could they pull what they did last year against the Buffalo Bills?
It's possible. That outcome is extremely possible. It's the same circumstance for the Steelers. They are the underdogs. Mm-hmm. They're going up against a team that just played in the AFC Championship game, and they're on the road.
They are, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, any given Sunday is how I'm going to go about it. You know, this Steelers team, it is, compared to last year, compared from a roster standpoint, it is better.
At least when we're looking at the offense specifically.
Right. It is better. It is better. The line, however, I don't think is.
I mean, we added names. We added James Daniels to fill that right guard position since Trey Turner left for the Commanders.
We added Mason Cole at center,
who's much better than Kendrick Green.
And is honestly looking to be, along with Chuck's, our best offensive lineman. But Dan Moore, Kevin Dotson, Kendrick Green, who's benched, thankfully, and James Daniels have been a little underwhelming to start the season.
Yep.
Now, I know it's going to be it's a work in progress. It's a build thing. We got to be patient a little bit. But
some of these guys are having their, second, third, fourth different offensive linemen.
Yeah. Yeah, so that doesn't help the O-line whatsoever. It really doesn't. So maybe it's just a wait-and-see game. We have to be a little bit more patient. Maybe our expectations were a little too much high rather than what it should have been, where it should have just been standard, which goes on through the entire season because, going into this Bengals game, I'm not going with any expectations. Going into any game this season, as of right now, I'm not going to any expectations because I don't know what to expect.
Exactly. It's kind of hard to expect anything because this is a new era for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This new era will start week 1.
A new era will begin this Sunday versus the Bengals, man. There is no Ben at quarterback.
No, we don't. We no longer have Kevin Colbert as our general manager. That's now Omar Khan.
And we now have Mitch Trubisky announced, confirmedly, as our starting quarterback.
So it is an entirely new era for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's going to be hard to expect anything.
Right, and that's not in a negative way. It's just because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, same here.
This is a different era. We don't know how smooth the transition is going to be. So throughout the entire year, our expectations are just going to be minimal and just going to enjoy the ride. Very similar to when Ben went down in 2019. After he went down, I was just enjoying the ride. Whatever happened, happened.
Yep.
So that's how I'm going to go into this year. Whatever happens, enjoy the ride. Because this is the start of a new era. It could be a great transition. It could be a slow transition. I don't know. I'm just going to enjoy it because, this is the first year without Ben. This is the first year where technically we're not considered AFC favorites.
No.
Because even though in his last few years he wasn't the greatest quarterback, under Ben we were always categorized as AFC favorites in some people's eyes. Now that's not the case. We are facing an AFC favorite, an AFC elite in the Bengals. Where the past couple years, the reason why I say rivalry's renewed is because we swept them, 5 straight years? We beat them 11 straight times before they beat us the last 3. You look at this Bengals team the past couple years. They got a new head coach. Marvin Lewis has been out of town for a while, and they've been better for it. We saw that just last year. They got a future franchise in Burrow. One of the AFC, if he's not already, going to be one of the AFC's best quarterbacks, and just in the league in general. Jamar Chase is already amazing.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is a great number 2. Tyler Boyd in the slot. Joe Mixon. On the defense side of the ball, they build the defense with certain core guys like Jesse Bates, Logan Wilson, Sam Hubbard, and then grabbed free agents such as a Chidobe Awuzie, Mike Hilton, a former Steeler.
Trey Hendrickson. My God.
A DJ Reader, a BJ Hill.
Yeah. The Bengals, man, they were not messing around last year.
No.
And it showed. They made it to the freaking Super Bowl,
and
dude.
Again, I think they got better this year.
They did get better. At least on paper they did.
Right, but I could also say the same thing about us, on paper.
But when you look at these two teams right here, it's not hard to see why the Bengals are favored.
Right.
Just looking at it on paper, the Bengals are looking like the better team. But that doesn't mean the Steelers can't beat them. They could absolutely beat them. They could absolutely pull off the upset.
Because not only is it any given Sunday, but it's Steelers-Bengals rivalry.
Let's hope that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have a good game plan going into this game. And in order for them to beat the Bengals, at least offensively, it comes down to one key spot on the offense, at least for me and Danny here, and that's the offensive line.
Obviously, the offensive line is going to be our make or break all season. They definitely going to have to step it up and give Mitch time to play quarterback here because we all know the front seven they're going up against.
Yes.
It's one of the most young and feisty in the league.
And I would say one of the most dangerous at the same time. Last year, they showed up big time. They got guys, young guys at that, experienced guys at that can get the job done. And against our offensive line, the offensive line has shown me and Danny no confidence of protecting our quarterback.
No. It all starts with the line, but I have no trust in the line as of right now. I just hope that they produce enough to give Najee some time to run the ball and get us down the field and try to keep the hot, feisty offense of the Bengals off the field. However, I do trust our defense completely. It's fully healthy, as far as I'm concerned. Alex Highsmith should be good to go. We all know what T.J. Watt's capable of. Cam Hayward's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. Most of our secondary is completely healthy.
And we're getting Tyson Alualu back on the defensive line. We added former Bengal last year, Larry Ogunjobi, to the defensive line.
And we got Miles Jack now as the main interior inside linebacker guy.
Yeah.
So this defense in my book is much improved from last year when it's fully healthy.
Yep.
And against this young, hot, great offense in the Bengals, I trust them. I trust the pass rush. Against an improved offensive line, I still trust our front seven and our pass rush.
Yeah.
And that's obviously you got to get to Burrow. You have to get to Burrow. You have to force mistakes. And the offense obviously has to take advantage. Can they, though? Is this going to be a rinse and repeat from the past couple years where the defense holds us, but the offense can't capitalize? Or are we going to get a refreshed offense where we actually see them capitalize? It's not going to be as handcuffed no more. At least not at quarterback, because we're going to have someone with a stronger arm, someone that can move around the pocket, that can extend plays. We've seen it from Mitch in the preseason, a little too much, but I'm afraid we're going to have to see that again because I don't know if this offensive line can remain stable.
Yeah.
That's the main key in beating the Bengals for us this weekend is can the offensive line at least be decent? I'm not asking for the greatest offensive line in the world because I know you ain't.
Not by any means, but
I'm just asking for some form of performance.
Of improvement.
Something.
Just protect our quarterback. Protect
I know
Mitch Trubisky.
it's not an easy task. Not this Sunday. Not any Sunday, especially with who we got lined up. But I'm asking for some sort of performance here, some improvement. So the way I see it, if the offensive line can perform pretty decent and give our offense some time to actually move around and run free, and we can extend the ball to our many receivers, give Najee some time to actually run through the gaps, instead of him having to fight for the yards himself. And then our defense can do what they can usually do. I think we can walk out here with an upset.
We possibly could, yeah. But you mentioned that defense can do what they got to do. A thing that they also have, the main thing I feel like they got to do compared to last year is stop the run.
Yes.
And they, like I said, they're getting guys back. Tyson Alualu's coming back. You added Ogunjobi. Cam Hayward's a great guy. Our front seven is healthy at the moment.
That's why I say I do trust this defense when it's fully healthy. It's improved with the additions we've had and the guys we get back.
Yeah.
The key is they have to stay healthy.
And they have to stop the run at the same time.
Right.
They have to stop Joe Mixon.
Then obviously you have to force the ball into Burrow's hands, which, I mean, you can trust Burrow with the game, but our pass rush has to eat, which I know it can because it's led the league in sacks for the last,
5 years.
4 or 5 years now.
5 years. Can we make it 6 in a row?
I don't know,
Could this be the start of it? I hope so.
I sure hope so. I hope we see Watt get to Burrow a couple times. Maybe Highsmith has a breakout game. I don't know. I hope we get this dub. I hope we get the upset. Let's start off the season hot, very similar to last year. Let's see what this offense can do. Now, keep in mind, what we see in week 1 is not going to exactly determine our entire season.
Of course.
It's not.
You can't judge by one game or the first game.
But I do believe in setting the tone. So let's set the tone this year.
Let's start off with a dub. Let's start 1-0.
Let's get an upset over an AFC elite and an AFC favorite, and let's get our win back after the last 3 embarrassing losses to the Bengals.
And let's start the new era on a positive note, on a
Yes.
big note.
It is a new era in Pittsburgh. We got Mitch at quarterback. We have a new GM. A new era officially begins this Sunday at Cincinnati. Yes, I'm still going to call you guys Cincinnati because it's the rivalry aspect, man. A rivalry is renewed. The days of the early to mid-2000s could be back. The days of the mid-2010s could be back. There was a lot more hatred in those days.
A lot more hatred.
A lot more hatred. But in terms of competitiveness, I hope those days are back. Let's get to it, man. Let's get this dub. Let's get this upset. Steeler Nation, we are back. Steelers are back. Football is back. Let's get this fucking dub. Here we go, Steelers.
Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!